Let's remember the good old days. Alrighty, we're continuing going verse by verse through the book of Galatians. We're in Galatians chapter 4, verses 13 through 16. And we're trying to remember the good old days. Verse 13, Paul says, I know that because of my physical infirmity, I preached the gospel to you at the first. So, we don't know. We'll continue on here, and it's going to show us a little bit about what's going on. But there could be a couple different things that were happening. One, in the book of Acts, Acts chapter 14, we are told that Paul was stoned to what they thought he was dead, okay? And this happened in the region of the southern Galatian region. It could be that he crawled up from there and went to the northern Galatian region where he started this church, and he came to them out of physical infirmity. It could be, some would say that he had a malaria, which was common. People would contract it in the lowlands, the marshy areas, and when they got it, they would go up to the higher elevation. Galatian region, around 3,600 feet in this one city here in Galatia. So it could be that he was being led, but it seems like it would say here that because of physical infirmity, we don't understand what, but he was led to preach in this area. So God uses everything, and maybe God isn't the cause of everything, but God is going to use the bad things, the good things happening in your life and in my life to direct us ultimately to where He wants us to be. So trust Him. Trust Him in the process. Trust Him in that journey. Verse 14, it goes on to say, And my trial, which was in my flesh, you did not despair or reject, but you received me as an angel of God, even as Christ Jesus. Verse 15, What then was the blessing you enjoyed? For I bear you witness that if possible, you would have plucked out your eyes, your own eyes, and given them to me. So, whatever was going on, Paul was a mess. He looked messy. He was not strong, but he was weak and sickly amongst them. And they didn't reject him. They didn't say, you know what, I'm not going to accept you in. So, see, here's what would happen. The Jewish culture and even the Greek culture of the day, they would say, if you have a sickness, it's because you've messed up somewhere. You've sinned. But Paul's saying, you guys, they still accepted me in. You guys were awesome. And here's the main point. We don't know about the details, but we know the main point he's making here is love. He's saying, remember back when, guys? We had such a good thing going. When I came, I started sharing about Christ. You accepted Christ. You accepted me. We loved each other. It was awesome. And can any of you guys remember back? Think back to when you first got saved, maybe. Or maybe there was some other time in your walk where it's like, I so remember, I so loved back then. I think when I first got saved and started being a part of a youth group, and this guy, Roger Varjuk, he shared so much with us. It was awesome what he and his wife Michelle did, sharing with us. And it was great times. I would love to go back to those days. But God is calling us on. But here's the point. Paul is saying, remember back. Remember that love we had for each other. And this is why I'm coming to you. It's because I love you. He goes on to say in verse 16, have I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? So there's going to be times that pastors, or truly any of us, God will call us to share the truth with people around us, and they might not want to hear it. But we need to learn how to share it in love, to share it as a father begging, come on guys, you got to see what's going on. I always remember, and I've shared this before, this analogy of we're sitting on a riverbank, and we know that right up around this bend, you can't see it, but right up around the bend, there's a waterfall. It's a deadly waterfall. And we see this family just floating down the river, and they're not prepared for any kind of deadly waterfall. What would be the most loving? You know, they're enjoying their time. And they might be offended if we holler out to them and try to warn them on the waterfall or swim out there and pull their raft in. They might be really upset with us. But if they understand the truth when they see the waterfall, they'll be so thankful. You guys were so loving to pull us out, to share the truth. And that's what we need to think in our Christian walk. We need to learn how we can share that in love, just pulling people out, learning what is going on, just begging with people, please, 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 I want you to see the truth of Jesus, the truth of his love, the truth of what he did. And personally, I just want to encourage people, get their nose in the book, get their nose in the Bible. God is going to minister to each one of us. There's good and bad in our lives that he's going to pull out. He is going to do this incredible work, transforming work in our lives. We just need to trust him. We need to look to him, and we need to let him do that work in our lives. I sure love you guys.